Welcome to the Dr. Wyatt Marriage Podcast. For developing a long-lasting, happy relationship is the status symbol to achieve, and following my tools is one path to help get you there. I'm your host, Dr. Wyatt, a licensed psychologist specializing in couples therapy. If you would like to have undivided attention for your marriage and learn all of my tools in one day, I highly recommend attend my Total Marriage Refresh Conference coming up July 27th in Denver, Colorado. I've been doing the conference for about 10 years. It's one of my favorite things to do. I'm there the entire day. I'm interacting with couples. I'm teaching couples. And it's just a great way to boost your relationship. If you want to resolve your resentments and rekindle your love, consider attending the conference. To learn more, click the link in the show notes or go to my website, drwyattfisher.com, and click on Colorado Marriage Retreat. So today I'm focusing on how to fix an unhappy marriage in 5 steps. Unfortunately, there's a lot of unhappy marriages out there, if not the majority. You're probably in one, or you wouldn't be listening to this podcast. I used to be in an unhappy marriage, so I know firsthand what it feels like to be in a relationship that is struggling. So today I'm going to go through 5 steps on how to fix an unhappy marriage. How do we get there? Because isn't it fascinating that we go from saying I do to then eventually wanting to get a separation, and for a lot of couples, divorce. What happens from saying I do, I love you, let's get married, to I want a divorce? So today we're going to try to unpack what happens between I do and I want a divorce, and how do we reverse it? How do we fix an unhappy marriage? The first thing is to consider what caused the drift in your relationship. What's caused the drift? The natural state of relationships is they drift apart. Couples drift apart. They go from lovers to roommates. Think about your relationship for a second. When did that start happening for you? Maybe it was when you had kids. Maybe it was when you started that new job. Maybe it was when you started traveling. What caused the beginning of the drift in your relationship? A lot of couples, when they first get together, all of their focus is on each other. But after a while, your focus goes outward to kids, careers, homes, chores, 401k, you name it. And so this drift starts to set in. It's very similar to our health. If you're not careful with what you eat, if you're not careful about your fitness, what happens? You gain weight over time. And before you know it, you wake up and you're overweight and you don't like how you look anymore and you feel a little self-conscious. It's the exact same principle with your marriage. If you're not careful with your marriage is going to get unhealthy. And you're going to wake up and feel like you're looking at your roommate instead of your partner or your lover. So that's step number 1, just to consider what has caused the drift in your relationship. Number 2, commit to addressing your resentments. What happens over time is we stop meeting each other's needs. We stop resolving our conflicts. We tend to compartmentalize these areas we're unhappy with just to function, just to survive, just to keep moving forward. And by doing that, we start having resentments. And when you have resentments, nothing else is going to go well. You're not going to feel like friends with someone you resent. You're not going to feel like having sex with someone you resent. And so you have to commit to addressing your resentments. This is where I recommend using the Reunite tool. You can Google it, Reunite tool. That tool will help the conversation be calm and constructive as you address these resentments. But a lot of couples have resentments and then they can't even talk about those resentments without things blowing up. So then they're really stuck. Step number 3 is you want to increase your quality time and connection by doing 3 things in particular. You want to start nurturing your emotional intimacy, you want to nurture more affection, and you want to start having dates. Now, it's hard to do any of those 3 things when you have active resentments. That's why you have to address your resentments first. Once you address your resentments, now you have to start having more quality time together. You're not going to feel close with your partner unless you're spending time together. And stop using the excuse, I'm just too busy. If you're too busy, that's going to damage your relationship. Do you want that to happen? Stop making excuses for how busy you are. Reduce your workload. Simplify. Travel less. You have to learn to carve out quality time for your marriage on a regular basis, or else it will suffocate. That's probably why it's unhappy. You're not going to be able to meet each other's needs if you're never spending time together. So what do you need to start saying no to in your life so that you can start saying yes to your marriage? Your marriage needs oxygen. If it does not have regular oxygen, it will suffocate. So how can you increase your quality time? When you are having more quality time, now you need to start nurturing more emotional intimacy. This is where I teach the head heart check about how to nurture that emotional intimacy. How do we cultivate a safe place so that we can open up and share our highs and lows and get to know each other again? Reestablish that connection and that friendship on an emotional level. This is where you need more affection. A lot of couples never touch. They stop touching each other. You need to intentionally bring back touch. It's hard to have intimacy if you never touch. So start touching your partner again. Give them a greeting when you first see them in the morning, when you first see them in the afternoon or early evening. Hug them. Give them a kiss. When you're standing next to them in the kitchen or in the car or eating a meal, touch them. Put your hand on their leg or on their back or on their shoulder. You need to start integrating non-sexual touching. You need to start having dates. Ideally, you'd be having a once-a-week date that's around 3 hours. Try to do it during the day if you can, while your kids are in school so you don't need a babysitter. But regular time to nurture shared hobbies. That's what you can do in the date. A lot of couples develop individual hobbies through the years by default because they'll say, I'll take over Tuesday night for you to go out. You take over for me Thursday night so I can go out. So inevitably, we're not hanging out together anymore and we're nurturing individual hobbies with our friends. And now you've woken up and think, I have nothing in common with my spouse. We don't like any of the same things. That's not necessarily your fault. It's usually a function of your life. But you want to curb that because the more you don't feel like you have anything in common with your partner, the more detached and like roommates it makes you feel. So instead, you have to have these weekly dates so that you can nurture shared hobbies. So try to think about what are some activities we would both enjoy. Maybe it's biking or hiking or swimming. My wife and I often will go hiking together, or we'll play tennis together, or we'll go bike riding together. You have to nurture some similar hobbies so then when you have these dates, you can rotate through these hobbies and it just makes you feel more like a team, like your partners. The fourth thing you need to do to fix an unhappy marriage is you need to integrate sensual time and then sexual contact. So sensual time can be, let's start cuddling together. Research shows the more couples cuddle, the more intimacy they have. So get in the habit of starting to cuddle with your partner. Start having sensual massages with your partner. That level of romance, that level of connection is necessary. That's a healthy ingredient in your relationship. And when that starts going well, start integrating sexual contact. When someone says, I feel like we're roommates, not lovers, the main thing they mean is that we're not having sex anymore. We're in a sexless marriage. No one signs up to get married to be in a sexless marriage. But a lot of relationships find themselves there because all these pieces are not in place. We have unresolved resentments. We don't feel like friends. We never touch. So how in the world are we ever going to have sex? It feels impossible. And it is impossible unless you start from the beginning by addressing your resentments, rebuilding your friendship, reintegrating sensual touch. Once you've done those steps, now your relationship is ready to integrate sexual contact. And your relationship needs that. Strive toward having sexual intimacy at least once a week. That's a great cadence. And that will get you out of the roommate status. But again, your relationship will not be able to sustain that in a healthy way for both partners unless you've done these previous steps. But regular sexual intimacy is extremely important for the health of your marriage. It bonds you emotionally, physically, spiritually. You need to be having regular sexual contact if you want a happy, healthy relationship. Number 5, if you can't do these steps on your own, if you're stuck resolving resentments, if you're stuck nurturing emotional intimacy, if you're stuck on how to reintegrate touch and sexual intimacy, seek professional help. Just like you do everything else. You go to the dentist for your teeth, the mechanic for your car, the plumber for your toilet. Seek a professional for your marriage if you can't do these steps on your own. That's what those professionals are there for. So those are 5 steps to take to fix an unhappy marriage. Number 1, consider what caused the drift in your relationship. Number 2, commit to addressing your resentments. Number 3, increase your quality time and connection by having emotional intimacy, affection, and regular dates. Number 4, integrate sensual time and sexual intimacy. And number 5, if you are stuck on any of those previous steps, seek professional help. If you'd like to learn all of my tools, sign up for my Tools Marriage course. Tools is my most cost-effective resource I provide for couples. You can join Tools anywhere in the world because it's virtual. We meet every Tuesday for 45 minutes at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. In every class, we go through one tool. So you can learn it, we practice it, you can ask questions about it. It's just a great way to build a healthy, successful relationship. And remember, the only thing you can control is yourself. So focus on your part of the equation. What could you do better? How could you show up different as a spouse? Because that's going to maximize the chances of your marriage getting better. If you found value in today's episode, be sure to click the 5 stars and leave a review. And click the share button and send this to one friend today that you think could find it helpful. If you have questions you want me to address on the podcast, be sure to leave a voicemail at 303-578-0618. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.